Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Zero MMR podcast with your host, me, X0. And what is coming to become a staple of the podcast is guess missing. This week, Trap is missing, breaking her streak of perfect attendance. But in return for that, we have Altmate back. How you doing, man?
I'm alright, man. Yourself?
I am not doing too badly, and of course, we have the usual other hosts. Praetorian, how you doing?
Hey, good, thanks. Yourself?
I am going very good, and of course, we have Pretzel. How you doing, man?
Hello, it's me. I finished work at a decent hour today, and I changed where I parked my car. I'm at a different train station. It's a little bit further towards the city, so it's a bit more driving in the morning, but it does mean I get a car park that's not 15 minutes walk away from the station. So I figured that out today, so I'm feeling really good. Life is good today.
Work. It works.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Good to hear, man. So, before we get into the news and all that stuff, how's Dota been? How's Dota been? How's Dota been treating you, old mate? You've had what, a week or two? You had a week or two. How's that been going?
Well, I had about a week off just because our internet here was just absolutely atrocious and just dropping out constantly. But I managed to get a solid weekend of Dota in, and it was amazing. I'm currently on a 7-game ranked win streak, so I'm feeling really, really good.
Oh, nice.
Got that Ancient 5 medal. I'm close to Divine. I can feel it.
Congrats, bro. Congrats.
Big deal.
Feels good. Man, on the other hand, I have not had time at all to play. Fuck, I've been busy with weddings and work and all that kind of stuff. So I only managed to get one ranked game in last night, and it was a very, very big stomp. So I was happy with that. But I'm getting ever closer and closer, slowly overplaying Kunkka to Divine Zero. The hero's so good, man.
I'll do the puking sounds for Trap.
Yep.
Oh man, just you know what? I haven't been able to play much fucking either, which is so fucking sad. Cause you know what? I'm dealing with a bunch of rental fucking problems, man. Dude, the rent life is annoying as shit after you move. It is the worst.
Are you by yourself? Oh, you're with your fam, right?
Yeah, still with the fam right now. It's just we recently had to move, and oh my god, dealing with these fucking rental conditions bullshit. Oh, it's the worst.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Sucks, bro.
Yeah, I will only manage to get like 2 games in, and then like a couple of games literally like an hour or two before this to do research for the topic we have. But yeah, that's all I got. So, all right. So, not a lot of Dota news, but a lot of Valve-related news going on. First deal with that hits close to home is Valve. A little while ago, got taken to court and lost by the ACCC here, with a law that currently states that all sellers in Australia must provide, refunds, returns, repairs for anything that that doesn't work, or just stuff like that. And they recently lost their appeal for that because they didn't follow it. So get ready for huge fines to Valve, and that really could affect us big. Yeah, because you know what, being in Australia and doing anything Valve related is kind of a pain in the ass as it is. Let's be real.
Now we know the real reason why there's never Australian-centric qualifiers for a bunch of Valve-sponsored tournaments.
It's because they know we demand a refund.
Yeah, yeah, we should demand a refund for all of our lost Oz quals.
If only that was
Yeah, but I like the fact that the ACCC did take them on. Valve is known as one of those big tech giants, alongside Google and Facebook now. So taking them on is a bit of a big step for such a
Or for a government organization, of course. Um, Australian consumers too much. A lot of the stuff that they're talking about is basically just like faulty games, or like when developers just like screw up the games and it's still put into the Steam market. And then people buy it and go, wait a second, this is a faulty game. This is a broken game. I don't like this because it's broken. And then demand a refund.
Mm.
I think over in Europe, Valve have also had similar issues with this because they just haven't wanted to, give money back to people. That seems like a stupid idea. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's pretty much my perspective is that it's good that someone's finally taken them on, and hopefully they also start paying some tax on some of the services that they're providing here in Australia and making so much money off.
I think Australia in general is very like, it's very heavily weighted towards the consumer right. Like consumer rights are extremely large in Australia in general. Like for example, if you go to like say Dick Smith or whatever, and you buy some monitor and it doesn't work or whatever, even if you sign a contract that says if this doesn't work, you can't return it. Actually, that is nullified by the Australian government laws that you have as a consumer. So it's pretty great as a consumer in Australia. So I'm not really surprised that it came from Australia. Hopefully, it sets a precedent in other areas, especially in Commonwealth countries. So
It's
I know
go on.
sorry. This fine though I feel like has been in the works for a while, because I could have sworn, I'm trying to find the exact date of it now, but Valve have had a refund feature through Steam for over a year at least now. So this like it's at the same time, like, yeah, it is good that someone is taking action against these big companies, but it's all stuff that Valve has gone, hey, like, yeah, we didn't realize, or not that they didn't realize, because that's probably a bit silly to think that Valve wouldn't realize consumer laws. But it's something that they've addressed in the past, but or like addressed since, and have changed everything. But like it is good. It is good that they're getting some, knock on the wrist at least.
Yeah, well, I kind of want to make it clear that the news here is that it lost its appeal, not the original case. The original case came out way before Valve decided to start offering refunds on Steam. So that was probably a big deal. Probably like a big reason of why they decided to put in the refund feature in the first place. Because if this, I think it might have been started. This suit might have started in 2015. Because courts always take their sweet time with everything. So chances are they lost. I think they lost their case probably in like sometime in 2016. Then they had a decent amount of time to start up an appeal to get that court loss revoked. And again, it's only recently, like the past couple of days, that it was announced that they lost that appeal. So they actually have to, like, if they want to sell shit here, they have to provide refunds.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think it was February 20 or April 20 last year was the last day that they could put in an appeal, and that's the day that they put in the appeal. I was reading earlier today, during my lunch break. Yeah, I think it was one of those days, the very last day they could put in an appeal, and they put in the appeal, and it was, obviously it was declined by the ACCC. So yeah, it's good. It's really cool to see, to be honest.
Yeah, it's kind of like black and white in our law. You're selling shit here, you must be able to provide all this other shit. Simple
That's
enough.
right. Yeah.
It's just Steam has been getting away with a bunch of extra shit because really the law hasn't really caught up to the digital age, as it were.
No, not
Yeah.
at all.
Okay. In other Valve / legal news, the Netherlands, I believe, has just announced that loot boxes is considered gambling now, and thus needs to be regulated or restricted to legal adults now, which again affects Valve, also affects Dota very slightly. Not as much these days, but Dota has had loot boxes. CS is huge still on that.
This is huge.
And
Yeah.
and of course TF2 obviously was like one of the grandfathers of the whole loot box thing. Yeah, I
Eh,
mean, it's there. It's
eh.
I don't know what it is.
It
What
was
it is.
it was essentially a testing ground for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's a lot less now. I think Valve moved away very quickly from the whole loot box idea. They still have the remnants of it in some of their treasure chests and stuff. With the Netherlands going in with this kind of I guess stance against Valve, it's going to be a bit interesting because it should, in theory, mean that Valve, or at least if you are based in the Netherlands or probably other areas throughout Europe, because I would imagine it's also going to be passed on through the EU, um, you're basically going to have to be able to provide proof that you are over 18. If not, it's just going to be like one of those things where you would have your account details, like your birth, and that's it. And it's like, oh, you are over 18, therefore you can purchase loot boxes, or you're under 18, you cannot purchase loot boxes. But I think that's pretty much the only thing that might change.
I think
They
it might
probably
be
will
the
just put it across clients anyway.
I think it
So
might
all
be the
across the
first
world.
thing that'll change, like that we can see right now. But I feel like this isn't really geared more towards like Valve or anything. I think it's more geared towards what came through with like the latest Star Wars game from EA and
Yep.
stuff. The massive loot box there. And I think this will be like the first step in regulating loot boxes as a whole for the whole industry. I feel like eventually, and what has needed to happen maybe sooner is like those pay to win fucking gambling crates just be pretty much removed from all games. But yeah, it's a step in the right direction, and I love that they've done it. And I hope it goes through the EU and passes on to Australia and North America and such.
Yeah, this I kind of also want to mention in the article I read. They are requiring any games being sold in the Netherlands or like digital sales in the Netherlands to remove the boxes from it or to remove the boxes from the game or remove the games entirely. So this is actually some like serious shit once like this deadline has gone through. So
It's a
unless
pretty long deadline, right? Like they have quite a while.
they have
I
quite a
think they got
while.
about just over a year.
Well, I think
Yeah.
I think it's reasonable, right? Because it gives time for the devs for either to get rid of it or like make that decision of whether they're going to
Yeah, for
actually get rid
upcoming
of it.
games. And
It also helps
Alternate
like,
revenue streams.
let any any have games in the middle of development like being released to affect that.
I hate hearing that term applied to like loot crates or like the different revenue streams when applied to like getting advantage in the game. Like it's ridiculous to me.
Yeah, for me, I meant it more like the cosmetic style, like PUBG style, or that kind of thing, where people are paying to be unique.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Which personally I don't have a problem with, like
Yeah.
because I don't have a problem when it comes to gambling per se, but like I don't find any enjoyment out of being like having like a skirt in PUBG or like a bandana or something like that. So I don't know. For me, it's not a big deal, but I can see how they are, how they can be very exploitative of people who do take pride in what their character looks like, who place importance on that.
Or
For
even
example,
people just who have, like,
Jason.
gambling problems.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's
I can see Jason just in the background, just like clicking through the loot boxes, like, come on, I gotta get a good DK set. I gotta get a good DK set.
mate.
And then
He's
just
setting
like-
up his marketplace.
Mate,
Like
I'm
it just
smart,
ticks
man.
across to the DK
effect.
set, and then it flips off onto the Kunga set, and you're like, no, I have to play Kunga now.
No, here's the thing. If they're available to be on the market, I'm going straight to the market. I don't care how much it costs. I'm getting it. That's how it is. Unless it's a rare one or something that can't be bought off the market. In which case, I have to buy loot boxes until I get it. I mean,
Jeez, man.
look, 'cause
Jeez.
it hurts. Okay, like back in the day, it was easier and cheaper to be a whale because because Valve will release just solo sets, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's fine as it is. I also kind of want to note that we're also like really lucky that our main game is a Valve game because like all they only do cosmetic shit. That's what's made them that's made them great with like the players as it were. Nobody feels completely screwed. Well, at least until Dota Plus came in, but out of all that shit.
I don't know, man. If you go back to TF2, when you used to play, you used to be able to get items as drops, and they used to actually like give different things to you. So remember like flamethrowers and stuff.
End of game. There's also
Hero
end of game
Class
drops.
Fire.
Remember that?
You could eventually get the back burner, which did more damage if the enemy was turned around, and you'd like set fire to their back, which like do like instinct. Yeah, it was insane. But you had to get that as a drop, otherwise you were just stuck with your regular old flamethrower. It's kind of stupid, but also kind of hilarious. But I mean that game was never going to be going anywhere near the competitive scene after that first trial of forced competitive scene. Anyway, that's my rant over.
I have to add one more. I have to add one more thing. Something happened in China a little while ago that happened relatively. That was something really similar in that China actually forces all loot box mechanics, kind of stuff like that, to disclose odds of getting stuff. Of the odds of getting like the rare stuff in rare stuff in their loot boxes, and this kind of really took like a really big deal with Hearthstone and like a bunch of the Blizzard stuff because obviously Hearthstone it's a collectible card game. Technically, they're loot boxes with packs and all that stuff. What they did to get around that was to isn't that you buy dust and you buy dust the like crafting currency there, and then on top of that you get packs for free. You get packs for free, as it were. So technically, if you weren't buying the loot boxes directly, which means they weren't gambling, which means they didn't have to actually disclose the odds. So depending on how, yeah, it's a little.
Go on, sorry, Jason.
No, it was a little weird workaround, but it is what it is. Oh fuck! All right, give me a sec. Oh, but yeah, but yeah, so that's, but yeah, that's how. It'd be interesting to see if there are any kind of like workarounds to that in the Netherlands. We'll kind of have to keep our eye on that.
Yeah.
It reminds me of I was just going to say quickly in Japan, obviously, if any of you guys have been to Japan, gambling in Japan is illegal. So if you ever go there, you'll see instead of like gambling or casinos or something like that, you'll go into a place called like a pachinko hall. And then in there, what you're doing is you're paying money to buy tokens. And then when you get the tokens, they'll buy the tokens back from you for a certain amount of money. So, but when you go and you play the game with these tokens, these pachinko tokens, you like can gamble with those, but you bought another currency. So you're not technically gambling, so it's not technically illegal. So it's kind of like the same thing with that. Like you're buying tokens to play a game with, and then when you play the game, you have a chance to get more tokens, right? Like so, you're not
Just stupid
gambling.
workaround.
Do you remember the slots in Pokemon? Do you remember the slot games in Pokemon? That's what essentially
it's a slot game in Pokemon.
It's literally
That's what it is. Yeah.
Literally the slots in Pokemon.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's where they got the idea from. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No other big general news. So let's get into tournament talk with Prey. That's
Yep.
that's the legit name of the
Alright.
section. All yours, buddy.
All right. So first and foremost, big props to everyone who came down to the GIC LAN, which was pretty fantastic. It was on Saturday morning. Production was a little bit interesting in terms of how it was all set up. It was at a hotel, the Ibis Hotel in Melbourne. The setup was pretty all right, I want to say. I think it was a 720. Went out to /Daredevil Dota. The VODs are up there for all of those who did miss it, unfortunately, because some people just don't live in Melbourne. Well, pretzel,
That's me. Hello.
pretzel. Yeah, so it was basically just a 3-team invite LAN. It was N9 who had Allison standing in for Cass because Cass had work. Which was made up of Sakri, Hung, Vinado, EJ, as well as he's gonna hate me now. Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. Sorry, it's really weird because Lix was actually playing support. So yeah, that's why I'm like, wait a second, there's no cores left. As well as Haha Gual's new stack, which is called Blackjack. It's got him obviously 123 Haha Gual, formerly of N9, as well as April, and a couple of others. It's a pretty high stack, and they actually took a game off of Generation of Miracles, so they looked pretty damn good. The did was kind of expected. I think even on my Twitter, I was like, yeah, look, N9's probably going to win this. My tips on N9, but it was still good to see just how competitive these teams were, and just how, I guess, how hard they are willing to play, even up against N9, especially considering the results from the most recent AEF LAN, where N9 was actually beaten. So a lot of those teams that are in Australia that are that higher level are still looking at N9 as like that team to beat, but they are beatable now. So that's always that. That was the GIC LAN. We do have, however, a very interesting qualifier coming up, the MPGL. I think that's what it is. Yeah. So we've got the Oz qualifiers for that tournament. It's a Southeast Asian tournament coming up. That's over this weekend, so the Saturday and Sunday. And yours truly will be casting some of that, so you'll be able to hear my dulcet tones and hilarious pun. And hopefully, I won't be disclosing my address, so you won't be able to kill me just yet. So that should be going pretty damn well. It's not so often that we actually get a tournament that has Australian qualifiers. So please, for those who are out there and listening, please sign up. I think the thread's been it's been sticky to the Dota Facebook page.
I don't want to know.
as
It's
well
already
as,
the registration's already ended. It was only for that weekend.
It's already ended.
It was only
Okay,
for that
there
weekend.
we go.
Let's hope we get a decent
Alright.
amount of Aussie teams showing up and doing us
But
proud.
even still, the Twitch stream is going to be up there on twitch.tv/Daredevil Dota. There's going to be a couple of streams, I think, over the weekend that will be covering all of the qualifiers. I think a couple of the players are going to be looking at potentially streaming their own run through the qualifiers. But again, got to remember this is the Oz qualifiers, so a lot of the players might not have the best of streams. First of all, second of all, there's a very chance that there won't be too many teams. I think off the top of my head, there's like maybe 10 teams who would put their hat into the ring, so to speak, to go for it. But we'll have to see how it all goes. Apart from that, I just want to bring everyone's attention to how the Southeast Asian regional qualifiers have been going.
Before you go on to that,
tournaments.
sorry, quickly. My bad on
All
the
right.
MPGL registrations. Registrations end on the 26th.
Okay, yeah. So please go register
Sign up,
if you still
please.
can. The more the merrier. It means that my job is a lot harder, which is great for you guys. You get to actually be casted by a professional caster, which is something that not too many people actually get the chance to have happen to them. I don't even flame, so that's even better. I will just question everything, but I won't flame. So as I was saying about the Southeast regional qualifiers, so this has been a bit of an interesting journey for some of you guys watching out there very keenly at how two particular teams have been going, Fnatic and TNC. Of course, Eternal Envy's Fnatic. It's been going pretty well, I want to say. They, however, did lose 3-0 in the MDL Changsha qualifiers to TNC. However, that very same day, they did end up 3-2ing them for the China Dota Super Major. There was earlier on in the week, on the 20th, there was the GESC Thailand qualifier, where Fnatic actually beat TNC 3-1. So it kind of shows how close it is. And just now, there is currently a couple of matches going on between, actually, funnily enough, Fnatic and TNC. And guess what? TNC just 2-0'd Fnatic. So just hot off the press for that one. So that's for the that's for the Super Major. So ESL1 Birmingham went to Fnatic, Changsha went to TNC, GESC went to Fnatic, and this is just a round robin. But yeah, TNC touring Fnatic there is a bit of an interesting one. Again, kind of just shows how contested those two teams are in terms of like the rest of C. You know, those are the big teams to beat. And I got to say that, you know, if any Australian team out there really wants to do well in the competitive scene, just now, they have to be looking at Fnatic and TNC going, okay, how do we beat them? That is the only thing that they need to be looking at right now.
For the Super Major, is it only one C spot or is there 2 C spots? Because it would be I think it would be a massive shame. That's a big shame because one of those teams is going to have to miss out, right? Either pretty much it's going to be a TNC or Fnatic missing out, or was one of them invited?
Mineski got invited. So that's Mushi, Ice, Mood, that kind of stuff. But yeah, they've only got one qualify slot, which is a bit interesting.
That actually sucks because I think TNC is like in that top 8, top 6 territory. Same with Fnatic. They're very, very good team. So
yeah, Mineski, Fnatic, and TNC, they've all to the international stage. They've all performed far above anyone's expectations, apart from maybe Gods and Winter, who casters or casters or analysts who have been like, no. When we cast these guys, they're absolutely crazy. Also, want to do a quick shout out to Baseskip, who's been covering all of these Fnatic versus TNC punch ups. It's been absolutely fantastic to listen to Baseskip. It's been a while since I got to listen to Baseskip, so it's big props to him for actually pulling those ones off. Also, just as a side note, this is pretty big news for not just tournaments but just teams in general, and that's the announcement of a particular football team based in France sponsoring LGD game. It's the Paris Saint-Germain football team from France.
It's actually massive news. It's
Yeah,
actually crazy.
They entered a partnership with them on the 19th of April. So I'm not too sure how long that will be for, but they changed the name, so it's PSG.LGD now. So that's massive. Hopefully more football teams get on board with the whole esports fandom and sponsorship thing that has been going on for quite some time, especially in North America.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been happening a lot here as well, just not for Dota.
Yes, so just esports in general.
Yeah.
For those not so much in the know, was it Is it Tainted? No, Legacy Esports is sponsored by Football Club. Essendon Football Club obviously have
I think they're literally just called the Bombers. I think
the Bombers, but that's a LOL team.
It's a LOL team.
Yeah. Cisco now. Yeah, it's a LOL team. It's a League of Legends. So yeah, and a couple of other teams have been kind of poking and prodding into that area as well, because there's just so much that you can gain just from like even just small sponsorship deals and such.
I can't
to a lot of these bigger.
Being on the inside,
NA.
being on the inside on one of the stuff, I can confirm there's a lot going around in the background.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that there's not more interest in CS:GO in Australia, to be honest, because I feel like that's the biggest esport in Australia, right? That must be that or League.
Okay, so to say quietly, there is a lot of interest, But the problem is that a couple of the major teams, so like Chiefs and such, they're not too interested because they already have such massive deals with a bunch of other sponsors. And I would imagine that some of their contracts might be a bit difficult in terms of getting more sponsors,
Also,
or particular types of.
yeah, also more insider stuff. The AFL and stuff generally will want to head towards more family friendly stuff. So I mean, Dota
Yeah.
League came around because they're like really cartoony. Everything is zoomed out really far, so you can't see too much. There's like a bunch of colorful stuff is popping up everywhere. So it's it's easier to watch as for kids. It's harder to do for CS:GO where everything is kind of like at least attempting to look photorealistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a shooting game, and we don't want to go the way of America.
Overwatch was something they were kind of looking at, but again, really cartoony, really colorful.
Yeah, but it's still a shooter, so it's kind of a bit of a weird situation for them. But we'll have to see, of course. There's plenty of years still down the track for all of those things to kind of get done, those deals to be done, and such. But yeah, hopefully, of course, we do see some more sponsorship deals between more physical sports, more traditional sports, and esports.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
Yeah,
That obviously it's good for every single aspect of that. So.
Yeah. All right. Any other tournament talk? Are we missing out on anything? C region, Birmingham, GSE.
I think it's important to remind everyone that in 2 weeks we got CS:GO IEM Sydney. Just quietly, if you're going to be there, the entire podcast I believe is going to be there. Maybe old mate's not there.
No,
the important people are there.
Yeah.
Sadly, I'm not going to be there.
The people who carry the show will be there. He'll be supporting us. He'll be position 6. He'll be the sub. He'll be the registered sub.
Yeah, we could be talking about it all on Monday, and then Matt will just have no idea what happened.
Yeah, I'll pitch in heaps.
Yeah. I'll coming back home, like on the plane on Monday, and be like, "Oh man, that was so great! I had so much fun," and I'll maybe be like, "Screw you guys." It's also at IEM, there's also going to be there's going to be some regional finals. That's Southeast Asia as well as the Oceania regional finals for StarCraft 2. There's a tournament that's been going on for a bit. So that's going to be great, and some pretty damn big names like Maynard, Pig, as well as Moonglade are going to be there casting the actual StarCraft 2 LAN. So if you are in the Sydney area, or if you're not and you've got a weekend free, thinking about that, it's not just for people who enjoy StarCraft or even just CS:GO. I haven't played StarCraft for ages, or CS:GO. I'm terrible at CS:GO, and I'm still going.
Yeah, definitely. It's just a great weekend. Good reason to support Australian esports, in my opinion. So it's gonna be a good time. Plus beers.
Yeah.
Beers.
Yep. Beers, shoeys everywhere. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have to do a Zero MMR podcast shoey together.
Hard pass. Not doing that.
Oh no!
Ruin fun there,
Give
mate.
me
No.
a FaceTime. I'll jump in from down in Melbourne. It'll be
Yeah,
sweet.
all right.
Look,
Yeah,
I don't
that's
want to
right.
drink beer from my dirty shoe.
Get new shoes.
All right, I'll get some
Yeah.
Kmart shoes special.
Yeah, get some shoes
They've got these
special for
amazing
this.
shoes you can get over the
Yeah.
bar, like a glass
That's how you do it.
material.
All right, sounds good.
That works. All right,
Just make sure you clean it beforehand.
probably a good idea. All right. No other tournament news or general news going on, so let's move on to the topic of this week, decided by Praetorian Dagon.
Dagon.
Oh my
Dagon da. It's like dragons, but without an R, without an R button. So
you made that joke last week. I still hate you for it.
Yeah.
Yep. I know. That's why we haven't been talking too much. But Dagon, it's a bit of an interesting item. I think currently in this meta, only 2 heroes can actually get away with buying it. That's Pugna and Tinker. Tinker because you can, rearm and then blow up again. And Pugna because you deep blast Dagon, then suck them. And that's pretty much how you feel like
maybe Puck if it
percent
goes
of your
late enough.
targets. Pardon?
Maybe Puck if it goes late enough, but yeah, I
Yeah.
don't really see many heroes that.
One of those heroes that can build it, but it's just really weird. Because you generally have enough burst damage anyway, and you're more centered around control. But you're absolutely right, Puck can build it. But yeah, so those are the heroes that mainly pick it up. Games that are pretty standard, I guess. Although the heroes, sorry, the general playstyle of it is very interesting. It's very kill centric. The thing I would like to point out, of course, is the fact that we're seeing a lot less emphasis on Dagons and more other items such as drums. I think we've seen a couple of lads, but not too many. Lots of blink daggers, obviously, even on support heroes. Ghost Scepter's kind of coming back, and obviously we've got Vessel. So there's a lot of items out there that people tend to pick up before they ever think of an item like one. It's perfect for those very interesting situations where you just need that little bit of extra damage, and you might be a spellcaster.
Yeah, it's an amazing item. I used to love, and I don't know if we'll see it if we ever see old mate Bloodseeker get back into the meta. But
yeah, I remember that was being a thing.
using the Dagon to
Don't say that. Don't
life.
say that. I'm a support. Screw you.
He's great. He's a great hero. I love him. And I used to, love down the rest of the squad. But yeah, it's an amazing item. Like you said, there's not really too many heroes at the moment that feel comfortable building it, which is a shame. But yeah, and especially with all the recent changes and new items coming in, that sort of not, I wouldn't say based around survivability, but there's been a lot of items that have come in that are sort of focused around that Spirit Vessel, Aeon Disc, just to name a couple. It just sort of, I feel like maybe might be some of the reasons we're seeing this item sort of drop in popularity. But
I think I can think of 3 like distinct reasons why this item in general is not very good. Like, to be honest, number 1, the first reason I think is the attribute, the most recent attribute changes, in that a lot of heroes at the moment that are, that you kind of want to burst down, they kind of have a lot more survivability due to strength giving you magic resist, and strength heroes that are very prevalent in the meta because they are quite strong. Obviously, they did have status resist before, but now they have magic resist as part of their stat bonus of strength. That part. The other reason is that the damage of Dagon never improved when they made strength give you more health. It sounds like more minor or tiny, but as you were saying, Prey, that when you need a little bit more damage, the fact that I think strength went from 17 health to 20 or 25 or something like that, it's probably not very much, but it's to keep the starting health flat. But it's not uncommon to see mid laners, especially strength heroes at level 6 with like 1200 health. Like, I've seen Tidehunters with 1200 health. I've seen, I'm just gonna say it, but Kunkka, I play a lot of Kunkka. Yeah, he's got 1200 health at like level 6, level 7. You can see Life Stealer, he's got a shit ton of health, and everyone's building strength items. Everyone tries to get at least one item that improves survivability at least.
Third item hearts and stuff everywhere.
Yeah,
man.
stuff like that. Yeah.
not even just like even with the introduction of talents, like people like heroes getting like DP has like a 12% magic resist at level 10 that she can choose. Or, some heroes just have base HP, base strength, Razor.
Like plus 500 on a few heroes? Like, what?
Yeah.
It's like hitting a hero and then suddenly just level up and like they just flick the 500 talent. You're like, oh god, that's another hero I have to kill.
That's like the 500 HP is like the damage of a Dagon. How much does it get up to?
I think it's up to. I think it's up to 800. I think.
800. but still, when you add in resistance and stuff, that's probably like that talent in itself, 500 HP, is completely enough to completely nullify a Dagon.
Yeah. The other reason is that the general meta trend when it comes to picking and the way that the game is played currently, it kind of favors, like, at least the last time I was kind of really heavily invested, which was around DAC. Lately, I haven't had a lot of time to be watching a lot of Dota, so I've just been reading up on recaps or having a look at drafts and stuff like that. But it seems to be that a lot of the meta is revolved around grab one or two items like HOD or a pipe or a hood and just kind of death ball with that. Like just go and take some towers. By the time like you kind of get a Dagon or something like that, it's already too late for it to be useful. Like I would prefer to have something like a 4-staff or a Yules or a Aether Lens if you're playing Pugna or something like that. Like, not to say that Pugna is bad against that kind of playstyle. I think it's actually quite good, but I think that there's better items to get earlier on and later on as well. Like, why would I would prefer to get an Aether Lens if I'm versing a Death Ball as Pugna rather than a Dagon.
Yeah.
That being said, it's all context sensitive as Dota is. That's what makes it such a good game. Yeah, there is times where Dagon is the correct item, like when you're versing someone extremely squishy or something like that, like Oracle or Dazzle or something like that, when you just want to delete them from the game, something like that. But it's all dependent on
Or even-
positioning and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Or even if you just got quick enough reflexes and you're up against an armlet carrier.
Yeah, stuff like that.
You can imagine like that kind of random instant burst damage, because there's no cast point on Dagon. Absolutely perfect for that situation where it's like, oh no, he's got an armlet, and like you see him toggle off and he's about to toggle on, then zap. Like a CK or a life stealer even. It's just for those kinds of situations I feel that zero cast point damage, it just comes out of nowhere. I think another hero that we have seen it being picked up on quite a bit is Nyx Assassin. Although that's kind of fallen off because of the general way that a lot of teams have been playing around Nyx Assassin lately, where they generally only pick them into int cores, and even then they pick up global ganking hero, such as an Invoker, so you can get Sunstrikes, Ancient Apparition for the Ice Blast, things like that, where you can get that global potential. So you can turn a small pick off into something a bit bigger.
And it's just like Nyx, like I don't know if this is the case, but from what I've seen, Nyx has been no longer being really picked as a 3. I think I've only seen it like once in the past like 6 months. But then they've been run more as a 4. Whereas you're not enough like 3,000 gold, I think is what the initial cost for the first part.
2,700 or something like that.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly.
It's huge on a support. And when when you can just say that you can get a blink dagger for 500 gold cheaper, and you eventually like you're gonna deal the same amount of damage by like securing a stun that you otherwise might not have been able to reach, is just
or not dying,
or just not dying.
Or get like, I think the most common first item is what Arcane Boots Meteor Hammer, right, for Nyx at the moment.
That is one of the builds. It depends entirely on, again, as you said before, everything in Dota is context based. But yeah, Meteor Hammer, one of the bigger buffs for Nyx Assassin. I think we even talked about it on this show a couple of episodes ago, with Meme Hammer.
Yeah. Which is another item that's kind of fallen out of favor along with Dagon. When it first came out, it was very, very popular. I think, like after the buff to make it 28-second cooldown. But anyway, we're not talking about Meteor Hammer. But
yeah. My opinion when it comes to Dagon, I think again a lot of it was like Aiken mentioned. It's a meta thing. It's a meta thing. It's just we don't seem to be focused on single target burst anymore, which is where Dagon really shined, and where Nyx specifically really shined. There was a lot of ganking going around back when Nyx and stuff were kind of popular, but now it's just pick tanky dudes and fight, push, and I think and not just that. It's also that I think we've all kind of skilled up at this point. I mean, at least in the competitive scene, everybody's gotten a lot better, or gotten more wise to generally like invis heroes, being in a position where to get ganked. I think a lot of it is like meta stuff, and a lot of the heroes that would normally pick up Dagon just generally has a lot of better items to pick up. Dagon isn't really a thing anymore, which is kind of sad because I remember back during the Dota 1 days, I had a friend where Dagon was his favorite item. He picked it up on every hero, no exception.
Yep.
This guy would pick up Dagon on like a Tide Hunter. He'd just ravage, anchor smash, hit Dagon.
You say that as if it's not a core item on Tidehunter. That's the first item I get.
No, Dagon is a core item on everybody, mate. I don't know what you're on about.
It is. It is.
PA, Luna, anyone you can think of. Centaur, get a Dagon. Because nothing.
Especially hero have
Centaur has burst, man. Centaur
He
has
has
burst.
burst.
Chuck in a couple talents and you sweet.
I'm still waiting for someone to get rid of the double edged of Ice Frog to get rid of the double edged talent and just add in like a spell amp talent, like a plus 20% spell amp damage or something like that. Just to like be like, oh, this hero sucks so much for spell amp. Like, let's just do it just to see what happens, and then everyone will be rushing Dagons on that thing.
Yeah, he ends up with a fair bit of strength. I think he's got like a 30 or plus strength talent. You chuck in the E-Blade there. That is big burst. That is really big.
Yeah.
This is my next game. This is happening.
All of this
Yeah,
just
E-Blade
reminds me of just a reminder of the time Morana used. Was it Spell Morana with the Ags E-Blade Dagon?
Yeah, you blink in, you use the or what it was at the start of it, the quadruple starfall. Onto some poor soul. You're already dropping about 1,000 damage onto someone. You E-Blade them, and then you do the quadruple starfall onto them, and you maybe if you have a Dagon, you use that onto them, and then you just leap away like 3 times, and then just like you're 1.5 towers length away, and they just can't do anything about it. They're just dead. Like they just get wiped from the screen. It's like Tinker and Sheep plus Dagon stuff. It's just like there's nothing you could do about it.
Apart from you don't have as much time to react to it. You have as much time to react to it as I think I was just thinking about it. Yeah, I was just thinking about it now. If you think about it, like, what does Dagon do, right? Like, aside from giving you a little bit of stats, right? All it does is like, do some damage, right?
Bang.
But if you think about all the items that most people are picking up now, there's a lot of like facets to them. Like, there's a lot of ways that you can use them. Like, it's a very obvious way, right? Like with 4-staff, you can just be like, all right, I'm just going to 4-staff my dude away, or you're going to glimmer cape your dude to safety. There's a lot of ways that these newer items can be used. And the biggest comparison I can think of is think about like Wraith King, right? Wraith King compared to, I think it was Puppy that said this. You look at Wraith King, he just has a stun. He hits some people, he chops, gets a crit, maybe he dies, he comes back to life, you throw another stun and you die again. And then you got like these crazy heroes like Terrorblade, who's making illusions of himself, sending them all over the place. He's got like a range form, he's got a melee form, he's got like swapping health. There's all this crazy shit going on in the game, right?
A massive slow.
Like it's just crazy shit.
Fog.
Yeah, but these are like the new ideas to keep the game fresh. That's why I think like Dagon is like a relic of old Dota. Like, it's important that it's there. There's a niche that it fills, but why would you pick it up when you have crazy items like Yules or like Ether Lens or Meteor Hammer? Look at fucking Meteor Hammer. You got this crazy setups. You got a stun. You got to do some tower damage. You get some health. You get some mana. You get some mana regen. Like, it's just a crazy item. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just
Maybe
it's a very
time for it to change.
That's what I mean.
Like a 50% heal or something if you use it on an ally or something.
But I don't know. I have to argue against that because I think these simple items and simple heroes are important for the game. Someone comes in and they start playing, like if they pick up Oracle, they're like, oh, look at this guy, he's got a little ball in his hand, or he looks cool. He's gonna be like, what the fuck does his skills do, right? And then you go and you look at Wraith King. It's like, all right, cool. I'm just gonna hit some dudes. I'm gonna get some crits. I got little spooky skeletons. I gotta throw a stun at some people. I'm just gonna right click. My game is right click. That's it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
I got chop on people.
Yeah. There's like the building blocks that let you learn more and more about the game. I don't know. That's my thoughts. I don't know how you guys feel about it. It seems like I don't know. It seems like it's been overshadowed by a lot of other things. The item in general.
I'm totally with you. It's more about the flexibility that a lot of other items give you. You're absolutely right there. I mean, you're just talking about four stuff, and all I could think of was like, how many games of or highlight reels have we seen of, some high level pro player four stuffing an opponent like onto their high ground and being like, oh hi, you're out of position now, and just seeing them get obliterated by the rest of the team. Um, that's such an offensive use of four stuff, and something you can't do with Hurricane Pike because it just pushes people away. But it's also something that it's kind of like in the book of tricks for a support to do. You never see it really coming up until it happens, and you're like, oh wait, that's a thing. But yeah, you're absolutely right with Dagon. It is completely one-dimensional. What does it do? It goes zap.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
it. Yeah.
Then
Look,
part of your health disappears.
Look, I think it kind of. I'm not sure if you want to update it or anything like that. For me, on things topic, it's just for me. It's the silly item. It's the item to get when you're just out to have fun or just fucking mess around. It's just like,
Yeah.
you know what's fun? Let's do I don't know. Let's go back.
Five-man
Let's go
Dagon.
5-man Dagon or like, I don't know. There's like a bunch of stuff. There's like, it's one of those silly items, and I think you kind of need that because otherwise everything just seems so serious and so try hard that sometimes it just loses all the fun of what originally made Dota great. Is that you just did random shit and it worked and you won, and I think that's still important despite the millions of dollars in esports, all of these tournaments going on. So sometimes you got to think about the ground level and you say what you want. There's nothing funnier on you when you're on the giving end of, oh yeah, you watch me go burst Centaur. Watch me go burst Centaur. That's silly. That's hilarious. That's hilarious to see if you're on the team. And if you're on the other team, it's just like, what the fuck is happening? And it becomes a good story. You just kind of need those kind of silly, fun items every now and then. And I think Dagon's pretty much is the only one left at this point. I don't imagine any other, because at this point it's silly builds. But
I gotta say though, I'm pretty sure everyone's experienced the whole low priority thing where like you just go, oh fuck this, like I'm just gonna pick one of the heroes, like, oh I don't know how to play this hero, like a Chen or something. What do I build? Oh well, there's a damage amp on this hero. What does that mean? Screw this. I'm just gonna go Dagon. You come out from behind someone with like not even boots, and you just like amp them, and you have your Dagon rush. You get zap. And then you hit them with your big fat nuke, and you're like, look at how much damage I do.
I'm relevant for 20 minutes.
Well,
Yeah.
if it's low prior or low skill, it's more than 20 minutes. Come on.
Exactly. I mean, like I remember my 2K low priority games. They were kind of fun. Kinda.
Fun in that way that you never ever want to go back there ever again.
I mean, I play low priority with my friends now, and I'm just like, this is actually fantastic. But because like in single draft, you are forced to play heroes that you don't normally play a lot. So it kind of expands your hero pool a lot more. It's like playing least played, which is such a dead mode, honestly.
Played.
I wish that I was in ranked. I really do wish that was in ranked because we would see actually like.
I kind of wish they would introduce.
We'd
normal
actually see
mode.
some decent games.
I just want normal mode, which was the mode that you got if you didn't put anything back in Dota 1 days.
It was like Radiant versus
Radiant
Dire.
only gets Radiant heroes, and Dire only gets Dire heroes.
I'm waiting for that too. Don't worry, man.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
And it's kind of interesting because then you'd kind of get like opposites of each other that end up doing like kind of similar things. Like for me back in the day, like Lich and CM were kind of like really similar, so you get kind of different counterparts and all that stuff. So when we put that in, that's going to be some interesting shit.
I think I remember reading somewhere that the original captain's mode, Radiant could only, like whoever was the Radiant team captain could only pick Radiant heroes, and Dire captain could only pick Dire heroes.
Yep.
It was super unbalanced, so they made captain's mode you can pick all the heroes. So
it's
pretty crazy. Like this is like old school Dota, right? So
It'd be pretty interesting to see if they did it for just like a all-star match or something.
Or you know what?
They should
just put it like as like a fun mode. Yes, that'd be
Try
interesting.
to Super Major, do it. Or ESL1 Birmingham, do it. Mm, mm, mm.
Surprise launch at
So-
TI, please. Worst surprise ever, though.
No, please, no. Not surprised launch at TI. Dendy playing Pudge on Radiant because he's on Dire.
Okay, have we exhausted the Dagon topic?
Yep.
Anyone want to add shit?
I think we busted through it pretty well.
Hey, all right.
Cool.
All right. Okay. Aiken or Pretzel, your turn for the topic for next week. Surprise us with it.
All right, guys. This is something you guys probably weren't thinking about. Something I'm not known for at all. All right, guys. I want to know why you keep playing Dota. That's the reason. I want to know what
Okay.
brings you back. Why do you guys keep playing Dota? Like, what's the reason? Have a think about it. I think it's a very deep topic. We can have a strong chat about it. But I don't know. Like, it's very interesting to me to hear about people's stories and what makes the game so important to them. Because I don't know. I think it's pretty obvious that the game is, there's four of us that are spending our free time talking about Dota rather than doing something else. So the game is probably important to us, right? So I just want to know, like, it's very interesting to see why Dota, why not CS:GO, why not PUBG, why not Fortnite, why not fucking League of Legends or StarCraft? Like, what is it about Dota that keeps you coming back? What is it about it that makes you enjoy it and keeps? For example, I have almost 7,000 hours, which is ridiculous. Whenever I tell anyone I have 7,000 hours of Dota, they're just like, "Are you fucking crazy?" I'm like, yes, I am.
Yeah.
It's correct. Yeah. So
It's alright.
yeah,
I was like, yeah, no, I've spent like 3 years playing this game.
yeah.
3 years of what? Yeah, like 3 years like in game, watching streams and stuff. You're absolutely right. There's obviously reasons behind that.
Yeah, there's some reasons. So it's interesting. Like, I don't know. That's what I want to know. I want the intro to Dota. What brought you in? How'd you start playing? Why you keep playing? All that good juicy stuff. The
All right.
backstory. We've got some character building, some filler episodes next week.
Character sheets out, boys.
Yeah.
You know what? That'll be an interesting thing. We haven't had an abstract topic, as it were, for us.
It's gonna be a long podcast. I'm
Will
gonna
be
go
long.
in. I'm gonna go deep.
We're gonna go deep. We're gonna go deep into maths.
You know what? Because we're kind of already doing an abstract topic, we'll also do a much requested topic by Trap, which is how we got our names. Why not? Sounds
The
like
backstory
the
episode.
backstory we'll just this will just be the back.
The roots.
The next week will just be the backstory episode. The origins. Zero
The lore.
zero MMR podcast origins. We have a
We've got
movie.
approved
We
for
have
a
a
second
movie. We
season.
have a movie, guys.
We'll get Sir Action Slacks to tell us the law.
I mean, that'll be a good way to kind of bring it into IEM Sydney anyway, right?
Yeah, that'd be great.
That's true.
Except for old mate, because you're not a good mate. He's
He's just
old,
old
mate.
mate.
I'll be there in spirit.
Old mate is the broke mate.
I'll
And
be there in spirit. I'll look up flights. I'll think how much flights are.
Oh yeah, boys. Yeah.
tickets are like
Just
tickets to just to the
yeah, boys.
event are like $280, dude.
You can get
Yep.
you can get some tickets from Facebook for like $90.
Buy
Yeah.
black shirts, black jeans, and I'll just walk straight in.
That works.
Yeah.
Just get a high vis, bro.
That's
Just get a high vis.
High vis. I got plenty of them lying around.
Perfect. But yeah, I'm here to fix the lights in the studio. Yep, no dramas.
I'm security, mate.
Yep.
What?
No, I'm talent manager, sir. No, I'm here for talent management. What are you
Just
talking
talent
about?
walking real confused and pissed off on the phone. Bloody Steve-O doesn't know what he's talking about. Fucking blowing out his ass.
Oh gee. Oh gee.
Anyway, I think that'll wrap us up for this week. Thank you guys for watching. Follow me on all my socials. EX.0, EX0. Just, you can find it somewhere. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, all that good stuff. Alright, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.